talk to me about your job. Is it music related, or how does that work?
So my day job, I work in advertising. So I'm a digital partner in a global media agency, and that also involves some travel for work. Um, I love my team and my clients, so it's nice from that perspective, but it is very, very busy. It's the job that I started out as my career when I left university quite a long time ago. And I've just continued on this path. I'm very fortunate to have been allowed to go part-time because in advertising, often that's not allowed. And very, very fortunate to have been allowed to move to Berlin because there is not an office here. So I work into my London office. So it's a very hectic job, and often you feel like you're doing three people's worth of stuff at any one time. But it gives me stability, and it also gives me time aside to kind of do music stuff where I'm not chained to my desk 5 days a week, which is a lot more difficult, I think, but not impossible, but it is a bit more difficult.
I think a lot of the people that listen to this podcast will be in a similar position, or maybe they've got a full-time job and they're trying to find time to make music. They might have a family, they might have other commitments, they might be having to look after an elderly relative or something. And it's part of the grind, isn't it? It's part of the challenge. Are there certain things you can take from doing your job that you can then bring into the studio? I'm thinking like scheduling, or it sounds like you're quite structured in terms of dog walks and that kind of thing. But are there other techniques or strategies that you can take into your music career?
Yeah, I mean, I work in digital media with a focus on like social. So actually, there's a lot I can do. The things that I tell my clients to do around social media strategy, a lot of things that I don't do myself. So sometimes I'm like, you should listen to your own advice in that regard. I think it's also helped from the point of view of like being able to write properly to promoters or labels and stuff. There's a kind of level of corporateness, which is not always needed in music, that's for sure. But I think it's definitely helped if I've got to have a slightly difficult conversation or I'm trying to open a door, like having that skill set helps. And the other thing is I quite like talking to people. Like I've been trying to do a lot of work with Flinter groups and like music workshops. And I feel quite confident talking in front of big groups of people or presenting. And that's definitely come from my day job. Because when I first came out of university, that used to terrify me. So it's definitely helped. And yeah, to the people that are still working the day job, one thing I would definitely recommend is asking if you can go part-time, because I actually thought they were going to laugh me out of town when I asked the question, can I go 3 days a week? Because like even people with families usually only get 4 days. And I also thought, oh, can I be remote? This was way before COVID. And they said yes. And I nearly fell off my chair. But if you don't ask, then you'll never know. And I think that's one thing that we're quite nervous of doing, because it's like, this is how it is. It's 5 days and you have to go into the office, and maybe some jobs are more restrictive, but you just have to ask a question sometimes and you might be surprised with the answer.
So in terms of the time that you do have to spend on music, there is obviously a time limit. You're probably quite tired in the evenings after a long day anyway.
Yeah.
And then you've got your Friday and Monday where you're trying to fit in some studio time. What are the ways that you find yourself to be most effective in those periods of time?
It can be having a short window to work within sometimes. I mean, I have ADHD as well. So if I have lots of time, sometimes that's not good because I can't focus and I'm like, oh, I'll just put a wash on and I'll go to the studio, and then suddenly it's like 6 p.m. and I've wasted 4 hours wandering around the house. And so when I go to the studio, I kind of need the studio because it takes me away from all the temptation to start doing other things around the house or chores or reading stuff on the internet. I don't have the internet in my studio. That is a blessing. And it's in a basement, so you can't really get a phone signal. So when my eyes start wandering towards social media, I can't actually log on without going outside. And then I'm like, no, get back to your chair.